If Harper Carter had left the wedding 10 minutes earlier, none of it would have happened. She would have missed him, missed the conversation, missed the moment that turned a quiet, forgettable night into something that would follow her for the next 6 months, and almost cost her everything she had spent years trying to rebuild. But she didn't leave. She stayed. And by the end of that night, half the room believed she was married to a man who had barely spoken 10 words to her in 3 years. A man who controlled her career. A man who, by morning, would no longer be just her boss. She just didn't know that yet. At that moment, she was sitting alone at table 27, far enough from the center of the ballroom that the laughter reached her softened, delayed, like it belonged to someone else's life. Her fingers traced the stem of her champagne glass, then moved to the fabric of her sapphire dress, smoothing a wrinkle that didn't exist, again and again. It wasn't a dress she could afford, not with rent due in 9 days, not with 2 invoices still unpaid, not with the quiet, constant math of raising a 6-year-old alone running behind every decision she made. But she had bought it anyway. Because just once, she didn't want to look like the woman people felt sorry for. Across the ballroom, under chandeliers that scattered warm light across polished marble, Emily spun in uneven circles, holding her dress like it was something magical. Her laughter carried, bright, unfiltered, completely unaware of the way people looked at her mother when they thought she wasn't paying attention. Harper noticed. She always did. Not because she belonged in rooms like this, but because she didn't. "You look like you're deciding between staying and disappearing." The voice came from behind her, close, calm, too familiar. Harper turned, and immediately wished she hadn't, because standing there like he had always been part of this world was Liam Hayes, CEO of Blackridge Media, her boss. And the last person who should have been walking toward her. "Mr. Hayes," she said too quickly. "I didn't realize you'd be here." A faint smile touched his expression. "Liam," he corrected. "We're not at work." He nodded toward the head table. "Daniel and I go back, college." Of course he did. Men like Liam didn't enter rooms like this by accident. They were the reason rooms like this existed. "May I?" he asked, gesturing toward the empty chair beside her. She hesitated, just long enough to notice it, then nodded. The moment he sat down, everything felt different. Sharper, closer, like the space around her had been quietly rearranged. "I know who you are," she added, immediately aware of how unnecessary that sounded. A flicker of amusement crossed his face. "I would hope so." But his attention didn't shift. If anything, it settled. "You're Harper Carter, a beat. Editorial acquisitions." "Yes." "The Northbound Hearts series," he continued. "You pushed that through." Her fingers tightened slightly around the glass. That hadn't been a simple decision. Weeks of resistance, budget arguments, quiet pressure to let it go. "It's outperforming projections by 32%. She blinked. "You track that?" "I track instinct," he said, "especially when it proves everyone else wrong." Something in her chest shifted. Not attraction. Not yet. Recognition. Before she could respond, movement near the dance floor caught her attention. Emily, standing still. Too still. A waiter hovered beside her, panic written across his face. A dark stain spread across the front of Emily's dress. Wine. Her eyes filled instantly. "I'm so sorry." Harper was already pushing her chair back, but Liam's hand brushed her arm lightly. "Let me." No hesitation, no performance, just certainty. He crossed the room quickly, the distance closing in seconds. When he reached Emily, he didn't stand over her. He lowered himself, kneeling so they were eye level. "Hey," he said gently. "I think your dress just unlocked something." Emily blinked through tears. "What?" He tapped the stain lightly. "Invisible ink." A small pause. "What?" "Only shows up for brave dancers." Her breathing slowed, confusion replacing panic. "Really?" "Really." He pulled a handkerchief from his pocket, then with an easy motion produced a coin from behind her ear. Emily gasped. The shift was immediate. Tears faded. Curiosity took over. Then laughter. Harper didn't move, because the man who barely acknowledged anyone below executive level was kneeling on a ballroom floor making her daughter laugh like it mattered. When they returned, Emily was already talking again, words tumbling over each other. "It's magic, and I can see it, and I believe you," Harper said softly. And somehow, she did. Emily ran back toward the dance floor minutes later, the moment already fading. Liam sat down again, adjusting his cuff as if nothing unusual had happened. "You didn't have to do that," Harper said. "I know." No explanation, no expectation. "She's remarkable," Harper swallowed. "She gets that from her father?" he asked carefully. Her fingers tightened slightly. "He's not around." 3 words, clean, closed. Liam held her gaze for a moment, then nodded. No follow-up, no pressure. The boundary was understood. Silence settled between them. Not awkward, just waiting. "Dance with me." Before she could answer, "Harper." Her cousin appeared beside the table, breathless, eyes immediately moving between them. "I didn't realize you two knew each other." "We work together," Harper said quickly. Liam stood. "She's one of our best." Simple, casual, and somehow heavier than anything said to her all night. Her cousin blinked, impressed, before being pulled away again. Harper barely had time to process it before her phone buzzed. Once, then again. Her stomach dropped. Babysitter canceled. Emergency. "I'm so sorry." Of course. Timing never failed her. "Something wrong?" Liam asked. "My sitter canceled," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I either leave now or take Emily with me. But she's finally enjoying herself, and if she left, the night would collapse. Back into routine. Back into silence. Back into the version of her life she had been trying not to feel." Liam hesitated. Then, "I have a suite upstairs." He said it like it was nothing. It wasn't. Harper looked at him. "I won't be there," he added. "I'm staying elsewhere." His voice stayed calm. No expectations. Just a solution. She hesitated, measured it, questioned it. Before she could decide, a photographer stepped in. "Let's get a photo." They were already being positioned, already assumed, already framed. Liam's hand found hers, warm, steady. He leaned in slightly. "Pretend you're not alone tonight." Her breath caught. "I've seen the way they look at you," he added quietly. "Like they've already decided your story." A moment passed, not spoken, felt. Let them be wrong. Her mind reacted instantly. This was her boss. This was complicated. This was dangerous. But something quieter, something tired of being alone, answered instead. "Okay, just tonight." His arm moved around her waist as the camera flashed. From the outside, it looked effortless, natural, convincing. But neither of them noticed the shift happening underneath. Because what started as a small, harmless lie had already begun to feel like something else. And by morning, Harper Carter's life would no longer belong to the version she thought she understood. The suite was larger than Harper's entire apartment. That was the first thing she noticed. Not the view, not the soft lighting, not the quiet luxury that made everything feel just slightly unreal. Space. Too much of it. Room to breathe in a way she wasn't used to. Room to think. And that was more dangerous. Emily stood in the middle of the living area, turning slowly in a circle, her eyes wide. "Mom, is this a castle?" Harper let out a quiet breath. "Just a hotel room, sweetheart." Emily didn't look convinced. "It's definitely a castle." She dropped her small overnight bag and ran toward the window, pressing her hands against the glass. "Look, everything's tiny." Harper watched her for a second longer than necessary. Because moments like this, uncomplicated joy, were rare and fragile. "Okay," she said finally, setting her own bag down. "Pajamas, teeth, bed. 5 more minutes?" 3. Emily considered that like it was a serious negotiation. 4. Harper almost smiled. 4. 20 minutes later, Emily was asleep, curled into the oversized bed in the second bedroom, one arm wrapped around her stuffed rabbit, the earlier excitement fading into steady, quiet breathing. Harper stood in the doorway for a moment, watching, making sure. She always did. Then she closed the door halfway and stepped back into the suite. The silence felt different now. Heavier, more aware. Her heels came off first, then the earrings. She crossed the room slowly, stopping at the window. The city stretched out below in perfect lines of light and motion, distant enough to feel removed from everything happening up here. For a second, she allowed herself to feel it. The absurdity of the night, the shift, the fact that she was standing in her boss's hotel suite while her daughter slept in the next room. It didn't make sense. None of it did. A soft knock at the door broke the moment. Harper stilled, not startled, just aware. She crossed the room and opened it. Liam stood on the other side, tie loosened, jacket gone. Something about him is less controlled than before. "I forgot my bag," he said. Of course he did. Right. She stepped aside. He walked in without hesitation, moving through the space like it belonged to him. It did. But it didn't feel like that now. It felt shared, temporary, complicated. "She asleep?" he asked quietly. Harper nodded. Finally. He retrieved a leather duffel from the closet, then paused. Didn't leave immediately. That was the first shift. "Nice view," he said, glancing toward the window. "It is." Silence settled, not empty, waiting. "You didn't have to do this," she said. He looked at her. "I know." That again. No explanation, no attempt to make it smaller. "I wanted to." The words landed differently this time, more direct, less filtered. Harper crossed her arms lightly. "Why?" The question came out before she could soften it. Not accusatory, but not neutral either. He set the bag down slowly. "You think there's a reason?" "In my experience," she said, holding his gaze, "there usually is." A flicker passed through his expression. Not offense, something sharper. "That says more about your experience than it does about me." The room shifted, subtle but real. "I'm cautious," she said. "You're my boss. This situation is already complicated. Is that why you turned down every promotion I approved for you?" The words landed hard, clean, unexpected. Harper blinked. "What?" He didn't look away. 3 times. A beat. Senior editor, increased compensation, expanded authority. She stared at him. "That's not possible." "It is." "No," she said, shaking her head slightly. "I was never offered anything." The silence that followed wasn't soft. It was sharp, immediate, dangerous. Liam went still, completely still. "What did you just say?" "I've never been offered a promotion," Harper said slowly. "Not once." Understanding hit at the same time, on both sides. They said the name together. "Daniel?" The word sat between them like something physical. Liam exhaled once, controlled. But there was something underneath it now, something darker. "He told me you declined," he said. "Said you preferred stability, flexibility for Emily." Harper let out a breath that wasn't quite a laugh. Of course he did. Memories lined up instantly, projects reassigned, emails unanswered, decisions rewritten. "I thought I just wasn't good enough," she said quietly. That landed harder than anything else. Liam's jaw tightened. "That ends Monday." There was no hesitation in his voice, no uncertainty, just decision. "What does?" "His position at Blackridge." Harper stared at him. "You can't just..." "I can. Flat, final. I should have seen it sooner." That was the second crack, because that wasn't CEO language. That was personal. "Why do you care this much?" she asked. He didn't answer immediately. That mattered. Because until now, he always had. "Because I started where you are," he said finally. "Before the title, before the board, before all of it." A step closer. "Because I know what it looks like when someone is quietly doing the work and someone else is taking the credit." Another step. "And because I've been watching you do it for 3 years." That landed. Different from everything before. More dangerous. More real. Harper looked away first. "That doesn't explain tonight." "No," he said quietly. "It doesn't." The honesty in that answer shifted something again. Before she could respond, a small voice broke through the tension. "Mommy?" Harper turned instantly. Emily stood in the doorway, half asleep, clutching her rabbit. "I had a bad dream." The moment fractured. Everything else disappeared. Harper crossed the room, kneeling down. "It's okay." The dragon came back. Liam didn't move immediately. Then slowly he stepped closer, keeping distance, respecting the space. "That's serious," he said gently. Emily nodded against Harper's shoulder. "He was chasing us." "Then we need stronger magic," Liam said. Emily looked at him. "You know more?" "I know a little." He crouched, pulling the same coin from his pocket. "Remember this?" Her eyes lit up, fear fading, replacing itself with focus. He guided her through the motions slowly, patiently, letting her try, fail, try again. Encouraging without pushing, present without taking over. Harper watched the entire thing in silence, because nothing about it felt forced. Nothing about it felt like performance. And that made it harder. When Emily finally smiled again, satisfied, Harper carried her back to bed, waited, stayed until her breathing evened out, then returned to the living area. Liam stood by the window again, different now, quieter. "Thank you," she said. He nodded once. "She's easy to care about." "She is." A pause settled. "Then, her father?" he asked carefully. Harper leaned against the arm of the sofa. "Gone before I knew I was pregnant." No hesitation, no emotion, just fact. "His loss," Liam said. "I used to think that," she replied, a small breath. "Now I think it was probably for the best." He didn't interrupt. "Michael was," she searched for the word, "promising." A faint, bitter edge. Just not in any way that actually mattered. Liam's expression shifted slightly. Recognition again. He left, got a record deal 6 months later. She gave a small, humorless smile. "I saw his face on a billboard once." Liam stilled. "Michael Delaney?" She looked at him. "You know him?" "My niece plays his music constantly." Of course she did. "Then you understand why I don't trust things that look too good too fast." That wasn't really about Michael. They both knew it. "It's late," Harper said, straightening slightly. "You should go." "Do you want me to?" The question landed differently than it should have. Too direct, too close to something else. Harper hesitated for just a second, and in that second, she almost said stay. Instead, "We should remember who we are in the morning. Professional, safe, controlled." Liam picked up his bag. At the door, he paused. "You never answered my question." She frowned slightly. "What question?" "Whether you think I'm pretending." The words stayed in the room even after he left. Harper didn't move right away, didn't turn. Because suddenly, she wasn't sure what the answer was. And that uncertainty followed her long after she turned off the lights, long after she lay down, long after the room went quiet. Because for the first time in 3 years, something in her life didn't feel controlled anymore. And that was the part she didn't know how to trust. By Monday morning, everything had shifted. Not in a way anyone could clearly point to. But Harper felt it the second she stepped into the building. The looks lasted a fraction longer. Conversations dipped just slightly when she passed. Nothing obvious. Nothing she could call out. But enough. Enough to make her aware of every step she took. Once you noticed something like that, you couldn't unsee it. The elevator ride up felt longer than usual. Too quiet. Too contained. When the doors opened, she stepped out and almost walked straight into Daniel Mercer. He didn't move aside, didn't apologize, just stood there, watching her. Slowly. "Well," he said, loud enough for the nearby desks to hear. "Looks like you recovered quickly." Harper held his gaze. "Good morning, Daniel?" Neutral, professional, controlled. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "I'll need the Mitchell manuscript on my desk by noon." The same manuscript he had reassigned from her, the same author who had asked to stay with her. "Of course," she said evenly, then added, "though the author specifically requested my feedback." A small shift, but intentional. Daniel's expression tightened. "I'm sure you can forward anything relevant." Dismissive. Final. The elevator doors closed behind him as he stepped back in, leaving Harper alone in the hallway. For a second, she almost let it go, like she always had. Then she didn't. And that was new. At 9:57, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Conference room, 10 o'clock. Don't be late. L. Her pulse shifted. When she walked into the room, every seat was filled. Executive level, senior leadership, people she wasn't supposed to be sitting with. Not yet. Daniel's head snapped up the second he saw her. Surprise. Then something sharper. Liam sat at the head of the table. Immaculate, controlled, untouchable. Not the man from the suite. This was someone else entirely. Harper, he said, professional, neutral. Take a seat. There was only one left, directly across from Daniel. Of course. She sat, didn't explain, didn't look away. Liam waited until the room settled. Then, I'll keep this brief. His gaze moved across the table. Measured, precise. Effective immediately, we are implementing structural changes within the editorial division. No buildup, no warning, impact. Daniel Mercer will be transitioning out of his role as editorial director. Silence settled heavily across the room. Daniel leaned forward slowly. This is a mistake. Liam didn't look at him. Harper Carter will assume interim leadership of the division. That was the moment the room shifted again. On what grounds? Daniel's voice sharpened. Liam turned, finally. On the grounds of deliberate interference in company operations. Withholding advancement opportunities from qualified staff. Falsifying internal communications. Each word landed cleanly. My office has compiled a full report. HR will meet with you after this. Daniel's eyes flicked to Harper and stayed there. That was when she understood. This wasn't finished, not even close. The meeting continued. Quarterly projections, strategy, numbers. As if nothing had happened. But Harper felt all of it. The attention, the shift, the way people recalculated her. Not invisible anymore, but not safe either. When the meeting ended, people stood too quickly. Conversations started without her. Liam stayed seated. Harper, stay. The room emptied, except Daniel. He lingered. You'll regret this, he said quietly. His gaze moved from Liam to her. And you especially. Then he left. The door closed. The silence that followed felt heavier than before. What did you just do? Harper asked. Liam loosened his tie slightly, the first visible crack. Corrected something that should have been corrected a long time ago. You just put a target on me. That target was already there. That's not the point. Her voice stayed steady, but there was something sharper underneath. This looks like favoritism. She held his gaze. And I'm the one who pays for that, not you. The words landed and stayed there. You're not the one they'll assume slept her way into this. Liam didn't react immediately. That stillness stretched just long enough to feel deliberate. Is that what you think? He asked quietly. No. She exhaled slowly. But it's what they'll think. The truth didn't soften anything. Liam reached for a folder and slid it toward her. Then they'll be wrong. Harper opened it, and everything aligned. Emails, timestamps, patterns. Daniel blocking her, redirecting her work, taking credit, systematically. Her stomach tightened the deeper she looked. This is everything. I've had suspicions, Liam said. His voice lowered slightly. I should have stepped in sooner. That wasn't corporate, that was personal. This has nothing to do with the weekend, he added. You earned this. The words should have made it easier. They didn't. This doesn't solve the problem, she said. I have a child. This role isn't just authority. It's time, visibility, pressure. All negotiable, she blinked. What? We adapt. Simple, direct. Or we keep losing people who shouldn't have to choose. That wasn't policy. That was him. A knock broke the moment. Your next meeting is ready. Harper stood, paused. For what it's worth, she met his gaze. Thank you. Something softened in his expression. Brief. Prove me right. 3 weeks passed, fast, relentless. Harper didn't ease into the role. She absorbed it. Contracts, authors, decisions. People treated her differently now, measured, questioned, watched, and Liam kept his distance. Professional, controlled, like none of it had happened. That should have made things easier. It didn't. One evening, her office was the only one still lit. A knock. Still here? She looked up. Liam. Jacket gone. Sleeves rolled. Less controlled. More real. Rare night, she said. Emily's at her cousin's. Something shifted in his expression. Have you eaten? A granola bar. That's not dinner. He glanced at the clock, then back at her. Come on. She hesitated. This isn't a good idea. It's dinner. His gaze didn't move. Unless you want it to be something else. The words landed differently this time. He didn't look away. That was new. And that was the problem. She should have said no. She didn't. The restaurant was quiet, removed. For a while, it was easy. Work, books, normal. You've done more in 3 weeks than most people do in a year, Liam said. For the first time, she said, I don't feel like I'm asking for permission. Good. He studied her for a moment, then shifted. Daniel's been meeting with Paragon. Her stomach tightened. You're sure? I don't guess. What is he doing? Trying to take what he can. My authors. He didn't confirm. He didn't need to. I got a call yesterday, she said. That's him. Silence followed. Different. Strategic. Liam reached across the table. His hand brushed hers. Neither of them pulled away immediately. The contact lingered just long enough to register. Then, he did. I'm sorry. For what? For pulling you into this. She shook her head. You didn't. But they both knew. He had. What do we do? She asked. We get ahead of him. His voice sharpened slightly. Author retreat, this weekend. Her eyes widened. That's in 3 days. I know. I can't just, Emily. Bring her. Immediate. Certain. The resort has childcare. She hesitated. 3 days. No distance. No space. Harper. His voice softened. I'm not asking as your boss. He held her gaze. I'm asking because we need you there. A fraction of a second passed. I need you there. That was the shift. Not obvious, but real. She felt it. The pull. The risk. Okay, she said. The resort was crowded, busy, alive. I'm sorry, the receptionist said. No reservation under your name. Harper frowned. That's not possible. Fully booked. Emily tugged her sleeve. Mom, I'm hungry. Of course. Is there anything nearby? Not within 30 miles. Problem? Liam's voice came from behind. Relief, and something more complicated. There's no room. He stepped forward, listened, then stilled. Harper leaned closer. This wasn't a mistake. He understood instantly. Daniel, still playing. My sweet, Liam said. A moment passed before he made the decision. She'll stay there. Harper turned. No. It's appropriate. It's not. It's practical. He held her gaze longer this time. Unless you want to explain to everyone tomorrow why you left. That landed. Social pressure. Real. Emily looked between them. Sleepover? Liam crouched immediately. I heard you've been practicing magic. Emily lit up. And just like that, everything shifted again. Harper stood there watching, understanding exactly what it looked like, what people would say, what this would become by morning, and realizing this wasn't just complicated anymore, it was dangerous. Because somewhere between the pretending and the choices they were making now, it had stopped feeling like a game. And this time, she wasn't sure she wanted it to. Dinner changed everything. Not because of what was said, because of what it looked like. By the time they finished eating, half the retreat had already seen them. Harper noticed it in the way conversations paused when they entered the lounge. In the way people looked, not directly, but just long enough to recognize a pattern. Liam, Harper, Emily, together. Not colleagues, not accidental. Something else. Something easier to label than to question. Don't look now, Harper said quietly as they stepped into the restaurant the next evening. But we're being watched. Liam didn't turn immediately. He didn't need to. I expected that. That doesn't make it better. No, he said calmly. It makes it predictable. Emily slid into her chair between them, already focused on the menu, unaware of the shift in the air. From the outside, it looked natural. A man, a woman, a child. Simple, clean, convincing. That was the problem, because it wasn't simple, and it definitely wasn't safe. Before Harper could say anything else, a woman approached their table. Elegant, composed, the kind of presence that didn't need introduction. "Liam Hayes," she said, her voice warm but precise. "I was beginning to think you were avoiding us." Liam stood immediately. "Elena Voss." Recognition moved through Harper instantly. Elena Voss wasn't just a best-selling author. She was legacy, the kind of name that built publishing houses. "And you must be Harper," Elena said, turning to her with sharp, assessing eyes. "I've heard quite a bit about you already." Harper stood, forcing herself into professional composure. "It's an honor." Elena's attention shifted to Emily. "And who is this?" "I'm Emily," she said proudly. "And I know magic." Elena smiled. "Well then, you may be exactly who I need." Within minutes, she joined them. Not invited, not questioned. She simply decided, and the table adjusted around her. That changed everything, because now, it wasn't just perception, it was validation. Elena spoke with Liam easily, the familiarity of long-standing collaboration evident in every exchange. But her attention kept returning to Harper, measured, curious, evaluating. "You have an interesting instinct," Elena said at one point. "The way you handled Northbound Hearts?" Harper didn't show her surprise. "You read it?" "I read everything that disrupts expectations." A pause in the conversation that didn't need to be named. "And you do that," Elena added. That landed, because it wasn't casual praise. It was recognition. And in this room, recognition was currency. Across the restaurant, Harper caught movement. Daniel, standing near the bar, watching, not subtle, not even trying to be. Liam followed her line of sight. His expression didn't change, but something behind it did. "Let him watch," he said quietly. "We're not doing anything wrong." A beat passed in Harper's mind, a truth she didn't say out loud. "That depends on how you define wrong." "Your daughter is remarkable," Elena said, drawing her attention back. "And she seems very comfortable." Her gaze moved briefly between Harper and Liam, too observant to miss what this looked like. "You make a very convincing picture." Harper felt it immediately, the assumption, the conclusion. She opened her mouth to correct it. Liam spoke first. "She's the reason Harper makes the decisions she does," he said. Calm, intentional. "And the reason those decisions work." It wasn't a denial, it wasn't confirmed. It was something in between. And somehow, that was more powerful. Elena studied him for a moment, then smiled slightly. "Interesting." The rest of the dinner blurred into something else entirely. Strategy, publishing, future projects. Elena spoke about a shift in her next manuscript, a direction she hadn't yet shared with anyone outside her inner circle. And she was sharing it here, at this table, with Harper, not Liam. That mattered. By the time dessert arrived, the lines had shifted again. Harper wasn't just present, she was positioned, and Daniel had seen all of it. When dinner ended, Elena stood. "We should continue this in the morning," she said to Harper, privately. Not a suggestion, a decision. Harper nodded. "I'd like that." Elena turned to Liam. "You've made an interesting choice." Liam didn't respond immediately. "I tend to." Elena smiled once, then left. The moment she was out of sight, the atmosphere changed, sharper, more exposed. "She doesn't do that," Liam said quietly as they walked Emily back toward the suite. "What?" "Open up to someone new that quickly." Harper felt it, the shift. "She didn't open up to me," she said. "She evaluated you," Liam replied, "and decided you were worth it." That should have felt like a win. It didn't, because everything about this situation was starting to feel like something else, something harder to control. "She thinks we're together," Harper said finally. Liam didn't deny it. "You were going to correct her." "Yes." "Why didn't you?" Harper stopped walking. "Because you didn't." That landed. Between them, clear, direct. Liam turned to face her. Would it have helped? Would it have hurt? Neither of them answered that, because they both knew. The answer was complicated. Too complicated. Emily ran ahead, distracted by the indoor pool visible through the glass doors. The moment fractured just enough for both of them to step back from it, but not far enough. Later that night, after Emily fell asleep, Harper stepped into the living area. Liam stood by the window, again. Whiskey in hand, same position, different energy. "You never answered my question," he said. She leaned lightly against the arm of the sofa. "Which one?" "Whether you think I'm pretending." The city lights reflected across the glass. She considered it, carefully. "I think," she said slowly, "that you don't do anything without a reason." That wasn't an accusation. It was observation. Liam turned. "You think this is calculated?" "I think you're used to control." That hit, not visible, but it landed. "And this?" he asked. His voice dropped slightly. "This doesn't feel controlled to me." He stepped closer. Not enough to cross the line, enough to make it visible. "Then what is it?" she asked. That was the moment, the one that could have gone in a different direction. "I don't know yet," he said. And for the first time, he meant it. That was the crack. Not in his control, in his certainty. Before Harper could respond, a knock at the door cut through the tension. Sharp, immediate. Liam moved first, checking before opening. A member of resort security stood outside. "Mr. Hayes, we have a situation. Someone accessed the conference room and photographed confidential materials." Everything shifted instantly. "What time?" Liam asked. "About 20 minutes ago." Harper didn't need to say the name. "Daniel." Liam nodded once. "I'll handle it." He turned back to her, locked the door. Then he was gone. The suite felt different without him. Too quiet, too still. Harper tried to settle. She couldn't. Something felt off. Not just the situation, the timing, the way everything had been building too quickly. She opened her laptop. Work first. Something familiar, something controlled. An email notification appeared. Unknown sender. Subject line, proof of Hayes' manipulation. Her stomach tightened. She shouldn't have opened it. She did. Photos, taken from a distance, through glass, the restaurant, the three of them, her, Liam, Emily, looking exactly like what everyone already believed, a family. Her pulse picked up. Below the images, one line. Ask him about the bet. Another. Ask him what he wins if he succeeds. Her chest tightened. A bet? It didn't make sense. It didn't need to. It just needed to plant doubt. And it worked, because suddenly, every moment replayed differently. The timing, the attention, the shift. Her phone buzzed. Liam. Handled. Security has him on camera. "I'll explain in the morning." Harper stared at the message, then at the email, then back at the photos. She didn't respond, because for the first time since this started, she didn't know what was real, and that uncertainty was louder than anything Daniel could have said out loud. By morning, her decision was already made. Emily woke up early. Too early. Harper packed quickly, efficiently. Left a short note. No details, no explanation. Just enough. By the time Liam returned, they were gone. And for the first time since the wedding, Harper chose distance. Because whatever this had become was no longer something she could afford to trust. By Monday morning, Harper had already made one thing clear to herself. She would not let this spiral out of control. Not her career, not her life, and definitely not Emily's. Whatever this was between her and Liam, it would not be allowed to break what she had spent years holding together. She arrived at the office earlier than usual, not because she needed to, because she needed control, something solid, something predictable. Her phone buzzed twice on her desk. She didn't look at it. She already knew who it was. At 9:11, her assistant appeared at the door. "There's an emergency board meeting. They need you upstairs." Harper frowned. "Now?" They said immediately. That was enough to tell her. Something was wrong. The boardroom was already full when she walked in. Executives, legal, HR. Too many people, too serious. And Liam wasn't there. That was the first thing that mattered. The second was the silence. Not the usual kind, not anticipation. Something heavier. The CFO stood at the head of the table, composed, but tight. For those who haven't been informed yet, her voice didn't soften. Liam Hayes was involved in a serious car accident early yesterday morning. The words didn't land all at once. Black ice, mountain road. The vehicle went through a guardrail. Harper didn't move, didn't react. Her mind refused to process it. He's in intensive care, critical but stable. That was when everything broke through at once. Too fast, too sharp. The room kept moving, questions, plans, damage control. But none of it reached her, because there was only one thought: he was driving back, because of her. And the next 3 days blurred into something hollow. She showed up, she worked, she answered questions, but none of it stayed. She went to the hospital twice. Both times, she was turned away. Not family, not authorized, not close enough to matter. And that stayed with her, because somewhere along the way, he had become something that did matter. And she had walked away before he could explain. On Thursday afternoon, her assistant knocked again. "There's someone here to see you." Harper barely looked up. "She says she's Liam's sister." That made her pause. Catherine Hayes didn't smile when she walked in, didn't soften the moment. "My brother regained consciousness this morning." Relief hit immediately, uncontrolled. "He's asking for you." Harper exhaled slowly. "He shouldn't be." Catherine studied her carefully. "He disagrees." Silence stretched between them. "He mentioned a misunderstanding," Catherine added. "Something Daniel Mercer used." Harper's stomach tightened. "The bet." Catherine didn't deny it. "You should hear it from him." The hospital room was quieter than anything Harper had experienced in days. Too still, too real. Liam looked different, paler, weaker, but still, him. His eyes opened the second she stepped inside. Relief was immediate. "You came." Harper stayed near the door, careful, guarded. "Your sister insisted." A faint smile crossed his face. "She usually does the opposite." Neither of them moved closer. Not yet. "About the email," Harper said. "The bet." Liam didn't look away. It was real. The honesty hit harder than anything else. Years ago, college, stupid. His voice stayed steady. It ended there. Harper's expression didn't change. Then why use it? Because it sounds just believable enough to make everything else fall apart. And it had. "I didn't approach you because of that," Liam continued. "I approached you because I've been watching you for 3 years. That shifted something. "You never spoke to me." "I couldn't." "You reported to Daniel." It made sense. Too much sense. "The wedding gave me a reason," he said. "To what?" "To see if what I thought I saw was real." The space between them felt smaller now. "Was it?" she asked. "Yes." No hesitation, no calculation. "And then you left." Not blame, just truth. Harper looked away. "I didn't know what to believe." "That's fair." That answer made it worse, because it was honest. "I don't do things halfway," Liam said. "If I wanted something from you, you would know exactly what it was." Her eyes met his again. "And what is it?" This time, he didn't hesitate. "You." The word landed clean, uncomplicated. "I want a real chance." Everything inside her tightened, because this wasn't safe anymore, this wasn't controlled. "You don't just get me," she said. "You get Emily too." His expression softened. "I know. She's not part of my life. She is my life. I know. And I won't risk that. You won't have to." Simple, direct. No promises he couldn't keep. "Work matters too," she said. "I won't lose what I've built. You won't." No hesitation. "We make it work. Not perfect, not easy, but real." A knock interrupted them. Catherine stepped back inside. "You have another visitor." She moved aside. Emily stepped in slowly, holding something in her hands. Her eyes went straight to Liam. "Mom said you got hurt." Liam smiled. "It's better now." Emily walked closer, carefully. "I made you something." She handed him a card. Glitter, stars, uneven shapes. "It's magic," she said quietly. "So nothing bad happens again." Liam looked at it like it mattered, like it was important. "Then I'm definitely safe," Emily smiled, and in that moment, something settled. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. Harper watched it happen, felt the last of her resistance shift. Because whatever this was, it wasn't manipulation, it wasn't a game, and it wasn't a lie. 6 months later, everything had changed. Not suddenly, not perfectly, but steadily. The work hadn't gotten easier, the pressure hadn't disappeared. People still talked, they always would. But none of it held the same weight anymore, because the truth had held, and that mattered more. Harper stood on the terrace watching Emily run along the shoreline. Liam followed a few steps behind her. Not controlling, not distant, present, exactly where he needed to be. Emily ran back toward them, holding something small in her hand. "Look what I found!" A piece of sea glass. Liam crouched beside her. "That's rare." "I know," she said proudly. "I'm good at finding things." He glanced up at Harper. "So is she." That stayed with her. Later that night, after Emily fell asleep, Harper stepped outside. Liam joined her, quietly. "Any regrets?" he asked. Harper thought about it, not quickly, not lightly. "Just one." He waited. "That I almost walked away from something real because I was afraid it wouldn't be." He stepped closer. "And now?" She met his gaze. "Now I know the difference between something that looks right," her voice softened, "and something that is." The space between them disappeared naturally, without hesitation, without doubt. For the first time in years, Harper wasn't holding everything together alone. And she didn't need to, because the truth was, the right thing rarely arrives clearly. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It doesn't make sense at first. It arrives complicated, unexpected, and asks you to trust it anyway. And this time, she didn't walk away, she stayed, and she never looked back. If this story made you feel something, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling us what you would have done in the main character's place, and subscribe to Sinner Stories so you never miss a new video.